I want to talk to you tonight about something that will completely change how men perceive you. I want to discuss the single factor that separates the women men chase from the women men take for granted. I want to share the secret that only 1% of women truly understand. I know that many of you feel frustrated right now. You are waiting for a man to pursue you, waiting for him to show genuine interest, and waiting for him to chase you. You feel like you are doing everything right, yet he is still not pursuing you. He remains uninterested, he is not chasing, and you are left wondering what is wrong with you or what crucial detail you are missing. I want to tell you something very important right now. The thing that men actually chase is not what you think it is. The thing that men pursue is not what society tells you to give them. The driver that causes a man to chase a woman is the exact thing that most women refuse to do. That one thing is simple: men chase women who refuse to lower their standards. Listen to me very carefully, because this is vital. This is not about being mean to people. This is not about being difficult to work with, nor is it about playing childish games to seem hard to get. This is about knowing your own value so completely that you refuse to compromise on it. This is about being so deeply certain of your self-worth that you will willingly walk away from any situation that diminishes you. It is about refusing to settle for breadcrumbs and refusing to accept less than you truly deserve. When a man sees a woman like this, when he encounters a woman who will not compromise her standards or lower herself for him, something powerful shifts inside him. He instantly becomes interested, intrigued, and deeply drawn to her presence. He wants to chase her, win her over, and prove that he is a man worthy of standing by her side. Unfortunately, most women do the exact opposite in their relationships. Most women lower their standards the very moment they realize they like a man. They compromise on the core things that matter to them most, accepting far less than they deserve simply because they are afraid of losing him. Most women diminish themselves, make themselves smaller, and say yes to things when they know they should say no. They accept poor behavior that they should never tolerate. When a man observes this pattern, when he sees a woman who is willing to compromise her integrity, lower her standards, and accept minimal effort, he gradually loses interest and respect. He stops chasing altogether because he recognizes that he does not need to exert any effort. He knows that she will accept whatever scrap of attention he decides to give her. Therefore, the quality that men endlessly chase is a woman who will never lower her standards under any circumstances. They chase a woman who firmly maintains her boundaries, knows exactly what she wants, and will not compromise on her vision. They want a woman who will walk away rather than settle. Someone who possesses so much authentic self-respect that she would genuinely rather be alone than spend time with a man who fails to treat her right. This is the precise woman that men pursue and want to win. The incredible thing is how straightforward this concept truly is, yet 99% of women fail to grasp it. Most women do the opposite by lowering their expectations, compromising their values, accepting less, and diminishing their worth. This is why so many women find themselves stuck in painful situations where men are not pursuing them or are taking them for granted. They have signaled to the man that they will accept anything, which tells him they do not value themselves. A man will never chase a woman who projects that message. Let me explain what it actually means to refuse to lower your standards in daily life. Let me teach you what this looks like in practice and highlight the specific things you must refuse to accept, because I want you to understand this deeply and become part of that rare 1% of women. The first thing you must refuse to accept is disrespect. You need to reject any man who disrespects you through his words, his actions, or his passive behavior. When you firmly refuse disrespect and communicate that you deserve better before walking away, a powerful shift occurs. The man realizes that you are serious, that you hold high standards, and that treating you poorly carries immediate consequences. He suddenly becomes interested in treating you better and pursuing you properly. Most women accept disrespect by making excuses for a man when he says something mean, or by telling themselves his poor behavior is not that bad because they fear losing him. When a man knows he can disrespect a woman without losing her, he will continue to take her for granted and stop chasing her entirely. The second thing you must refuse to accept is being treated as a low priority. You must refuse to stay with a man who does not prioritize your presence in his life, who only reaches out when he wants something from you, who fails to make time for you, or who treats you like a secondary option. When you refuse this dynamic and walk away, the man realizes that you will not tolerate being an afterthought. He understands that you expect to be prioritized, and that if he fails to step up, he will lose you forever. This realization makes him want to make you a priority and chase you. Sadly, many women accept being a low priority. They reach out after days of silence, rearrange their busy schedules to accommodate a man who cancels plans at the last minute, and give him their complete focus while he treats them as a backup plan. When a man knows a woman is always conveniently available, he feels no urge to prioritize or chase her. The third thing you need to refuse to tolerate is broken promises. You must refuse to accept a man who continuously says he will do something but fails to follow through. You must reject broken promises, empty excuses, and repeated pleas for another chance when he promises it will be the last time. When you hold a man accountable and walk away from unkept words, he realizes that his statements carry real weight. He learns that he cannot make empty commitments without facing consequences, which pushes him to become a man of his word who pursues you correctly. Most women excuse broken promises endlessly. When a man fails to call as promised or breaks commitments repeatedly, they make excuses for him and keep giving him second chances. This teaches the man that his word does not matter, prompting him to keep breaking promises while ending his pursuit of her. The fourth thing you must refuse to accept is half-hearted effort. You must reject a man who puts minimal energy into the relationship, lacks genuine commitment, or does only the bare minimum to keep you around. When you walk away from low effort, the man realizes you will accept nothing less than his best. He recognizes that if he wants a place in your life, he must invest full energy rather than coasting along. Most women accept half effort by settling for low effort text messages instead of real phone calls, reminding him of important details he constantly forgets, planning every date themselves, and carrying the entire emotional weight of the relationship. When a man sees that a woman will supply all the effort for both of them, he settles into doing the bare minimum and stops chasing her completely. The fifth thing you must refuse to accept is physical intimacy without a genuine commitment. You need to refuse to give your body to a man who has not committed his heart and life to you. You must refuse to be intimate with someone who is not serious about building a future with you. And you must refuse to blur the line between casual dating and exclusive commitment. When you maintain this boundary firmly, the man realizes that you take commitment seriously and respect yourself immensely. He understands that to enjoy intimacy with you, he must earn your trust and offer a real commitment, which motivates him to pursue you properly. Unfortunately, many women give themselves physically in the hope that intimacy will inspire a man to commit. It almost always achieves the opposite result. It signals to the man that he can receive everything without offering anything in return, removing any incentive for him to chase or commit to her. The sixth thing you must refuse to accept is inconsistent communication. You need to reject the hot and cold cycle, where a man showers you with attention one week and goes completely cold the next. A man who truly values you will maintain steady, reliable contact because he values your peace of mind and wants to stay connected to your life. When you accept sporadic texts, late night messages, or days of unexplainable silence, you signal that your time and emotional stability are not valuable. By walking away from inconsistent patterns, you demonstrate that your attention must be earned through steady reliability, which forces a man to step up his communication if he wants to remain in your world. The seventh thing you must refuse to accept is emotional unavailability. You must refuse to invest your heart into a man who keeps his emotions completely guarded, refuses to talk about the future, or hides behind past trauma as an excuse to avoid growing closer to you. You cannot heal a man who chooses to remain closed off, nor should you wait endlessly for someone to decide if they are ready to open up. When you refuse to play the role of an unpaid therapist or a temporary placeholder, you show immense self-respect. A man who sees that you will not wait around for him to figure out basic emotional maturity will either do the internal work required to win you over or step aside for someone who is truly ready. The eighth thing you must refuse to accept is hidden relationships and secret dynamic setups. You must refuse to be a secret in a man's life or to be kept separate from his friends, family, and public world. A man who is genuinely proud to be with you will want to integrate you into every aspect of his reality. When you tolerate being hidden away or accept vague excuses about keeping things private, you allow him to enjoy the benefits of your company without taking public ownership of the relationship. By demanding transparency and refusing to remain in the shadows, you force him to make a clear choice about whether he is proud to walk beside you. The ninth thing you must refuse to accept is a lack of financial or lifestyle accountability. This does not mean you should evaluate a man solely on his current wealth, but rather on his drive, direction, and sense of responsibility. You must refuse to enable a man who is lazy, lacks ambition, or relies on you to carry his financial burdens while he makes no effort to improve his own life. When you set high expectations for ambition and mutual contribution, you invite a partner who wants to build an empowering future together, rather than someone who relies on your strength to cushion his inaction. The 10th thing you must refuse to accept is any attempt to isolate you from your goals, passions, friends, or family. A man who is worthy of your space will celebrate your independence and encourage your personal growth rather than feeling threatened by it. When you maintain a rich, fulfilling life outside of the relationship and refuse to shrink your world to fit his ego, you remain an inspiring, complete individual. He will continue to chase you because he sees that your happiness stems from your own complete identity. And he will work hard to be a meaningful, welcome addition to the incredible life you have already built for yourself. He does not commit because he already gets what he wants without having to offer commitment in return. The 6th thing that you need to refuse to do is accept being lied to. You must refuse to tolerate a man who lies to you directly, gives half-truths, uses deception, or expects you to make excuses for his dishonesty. When you refuse to overlook deceit and address lies immediately, a profound shift occurs. The man realizes that you will not tolerate manipulation, that absolute honesty is non-negotiable for you, and that he cannot play mind games with you. He then becomes genuinely interested in being truthful with you and pursuing you properly. Most women accept lies by making excuses when a man misleads them, telling themselves the deceit is not that bad, or choosing to overlook blatant dishonesty. The man recognizes this pattern and knows he can deceive her while retaining her presence. He continues to deceive her and stops chasing because he knows she will accept his dishonest behavior without imposing consequences. The 7th thing that you need to refuse to do is accept being a second choice. You must refuse to stay with a man who compares you to other women, keeps his options open, or refuses to choose you exclusively. When you demand exclusivity and refuse to accept anything less, the man realizes that you will never settle for being a backup option. He learns that if he wants a place in your life, he must choose you completely, close the door on all other romantic options, and commit fully to building a real relationship. Most women accept being a second choice by staying quiet while a man keeps other women around, compares them to an ex, or leaves his options open. The man notices this compliance, realizes she will settle for second place, and stops chasing or committing because she has already signaled that she expects very little. Now let us examine what happens when you steadfastly refuse to lower your standards and observe the internal transformation that occurs within a man when he realizes you will never compromise your self-worth. When a man sees that you maintain clear standards, that you will not tolerate disrespect, accept being a low priority, endure broken promises, tolerate half effort, offer physical intimacy without commitment, accept lies, or settle for being a second choice, his entire approach to you changes fundamentally. First, he becomes intensely interested and curious about who you are. He wonders what makes you so unique, why you refuse to tolerate things that other women routinely accept, and what grants you such grounded confidence. This genuine curiosity draws him toward you and makes him want to know you deeply in a way he never considered before. Second, he becomes genuinely respectful. He recognizes that you are not someone he can manipulate or treat carelessly. He knows that if he disrespects your boundaries, you possess the self-regard to walk away permanently. Consequently, he begins to respect your presence, carefully considers how his actions affect your emotions, and actively cares about treating you right. Third, he becomes far more intentional in his actions. He realizes he cannot coast through the relationship or offer bare minimum energy. He understands that winning your heart requires real effort, thoughtful planning, consistent time, and focused pursuit. So he steps up to supply that effort. Fourth, he becomes fully committed. He understands that keeping other options open will cost him his chance with you. If he wants you in his life, he knows he must choose you exclusively and close the door on every other romantic interest. Fifth, he becomes completely honest. He realizes that deceit will instantly drive you away, so he eliminates games and dishonesty, choosing instead to build trust through clear and reliable truthfulness. Sixth, he steps into the role of your protector and provider. Recognizing your high value, he views you as someone worth protecting, caring for, and supporting, stepping up to ensure your safety, comfort, and peace of mind. Seventh, he becomes your active pursuer. He realizes that you are a rare woman worth fighting for, and that you will not simply hand your heart over to someone who has not earned it. He undertakes the work, makes the consistent effort, and actively chases you to build a meaningful partnership. All of this occurs because you hold fast to your standards, know your core value, and refuse to compromise on what you deserve. Sadly, most women never experience this transformative dynamic because they lower their standards too quickly, accept disrespect, and give away their energy for very little in return. They surrender their leverage early on, leaving the man with no reason to pursue them. Only a small fraction of women possess the courage to maintain their standards, walk away rather than settle, and stand firm in their self-worth, even if it means standing alone for a season. Refusing to lower your standards is about far more than just inspiring a man to pursue you. At its core, it is an act of deep self-respect, self-love, and personal integrity. It means recognizing your inherent worth and refusing to settle for crumbs when you deserve a fulfilling partnership. When you expand on these crucial boundaries in everyday life, you begin to recognize disrespect in all its forms. Demeaning talk, negative comments about your appearance, dismissive attitudes, constantly interrupting you, checking out other women in your presence, or failing to value your time. Making excuses for bad behavior sends a clear message that disrespect is acceptable to you. However, addressing disrespect immediately teaches a man that treating you properly is the absolute baseline requirement for remaining in your life. Similarly, accepting being a low priority, such as tolerating last-minute cancellations, waiting around for days for a simple text, or constantly altering your schedule to fit a man's convenience while he makes no adjustments for you, signals that your time lacks value. When you reject being an afterthought, you show that your life is rich and meaningful on its own, compelling a man to show up consistently if he wishes to share in it. By holding fast to these standards across every area of your life, you establish a standard of self-respect that commands genuine respect from everyone around you. Every single time a woman accepts being treated as a low priority, she sends a clear message. She sends the message that she does not value her own time, that she will always be conveniently available, and that receiving minimal focus is completely acceptable to her. However, when you firmly refuse to be a low priority, declare that your time deserves real consideration, stop rearranging your entire life for a man, refrain from reaching out when he pulls away, and step back from carrying the relationship alone, everything shifts. The man suddenly realizes that you hold your time in high regard and cannot be taken for granted. He understands that if he fails to make you a priority, he will lose you completely, which prompts him to make time, prioritize your presence, and actively chase you. The third boundary you must enforce is rejecting broken promises. This pattern manifests when a man promises to call but never does, commits to plans only to cancel at the last minute, repeatedly claims he will change without taking real action, or promises never to repeat a mistake only to do it again. Many women settle for this by telling themselves he was trying, claiming each disappointment is the absolute last time, or extending continuous second chances. Every time a woman forgives broken promises without real accountability, she teaches him that his word carries no weight, that broken commitments carry zero consequences, and that she will accept ongoing unreliability. When you reject broken promises, hold a man accountable, and withhold endless chances, he realizes his words must match his actions. He learns that unkept promises result in losing your presence, driving him to become reliable, honest, and trustworthy. The fourth standard you must maintain is refusing half-hearted effort. This looks like a man who relies exclusively on casual text instead of calling, does the absolute bare minimum, avoids investing emotional energy, coasting along without making thoughtful date plans or attempting to impress you. Many women settle for minimal energy, feeling grateful for any minor text, working twice as hard to compensate for his lack of investment, and carrying the burden of the entire relationship. Accepting minimal effort signals that bare minimum treatment is enough to keep you around. Conversely, when you expect full effort and refuse to do all the work yourself, a man recognizes that he cannot coast if he wants to keep you. He realizes he must invest real thought and energy, motivating him to step up and pour genuine effort into pursuing you. The fifth boundary you must hold is refusing physical intimacy without genuine commitment. Giving your body to a man before an exclusive commitment is established sends a direct message that commitment is not required to enjoy physical closeness. It signals that your presence and intimacy can be accessed without responsibility. A man receives this message clearly and loses his incentive to pursue you further because he has already gained what he desired without earning it. When you maintain a boundary that physical intimacy requires mutual commitment, the dynamic changes fundamentally. The man realizes that your intimacy is earned through dedicated devotion. He recognizes that to enjoy physical closeness, he must offer a real, secure partnership, compelling him to either commit fully and pursue you intentionally or step aside. The sixth standard you must enforce is rejecting dishonesty in all forms. This includes direct lies, omitted details, hidden information, vague intentions, or insincere promises. Many women accept deceit because they want to believe a man, convincing themselves they misunderstood or making excuses for his behavior. Every time dishonesty is overlooked, it communicates that truthfulness is not required to maintain a relationship with you. When you immediately address deception and make it clear that honesty is absolute and non-negotiable, a man realizes he cannot play mind games or manipulate you. He understands that dishonesty will instantly sever the connection, forcing him to act with absolute transparency if he wishes to remain in your life. The seventh thing you must refuse is being treated as a second choice. This occurs when a man keeps other women around, compares you to an ex, remains undecided about a future with you, leaves his options open, or avoids publicly claiming you as his partner. Women often tolerate this by downplaying rivalries, trying harder to earn his validation, or passively waiting for him to decide. Accepting second place signals that you are comfortable receiving leftover scraps of attention. However, when you demand complete exclusivity and require him to fully commit or walk away, the man realizes he cannot have both worlds. He understands that being with you requires closing every other door, prompting him to choose you completely, prioritize your place in his life, and invest his full energy into the partnership. Refusing to lower your standards requires tremendous courage, strength, and personal conviction. It is not easy to walk away from disrespect when you feel drawn to a man, to enforce boundaries when you feel lonely, or to reject half-hearted effort when you care about someone. It demands knowing your worth so deeply that you cannot be swayed by temporary affection or empty words. This unwavering strength and self-worth is precisely what makes a woman deeply compelling. When a man encounters a woman who holds firm standards, values her own peace, and possesses the integrity to walk away from poor treatment, he respects her completely and feels driven to earn a place in her life. Choosing to be part of the rare 1% of women who refuse to settle is ultimately an act of profound self-respect and self-love. It means honoring your identity enough to remain single rather than remaining in an unfulfilling dynamic. When you refuse to lower your standards, you align yourself with a relationship built on genuine respect, mutual effort, and lasting value.